All right. Okay, I think we're all set. Welcome. First masterclass. I'm going to try to be a real pro about it, you guys. I have a PowerPoint for you and everything. This topic, I really do feel like God has done a work in my heart. And I really, truly wanted to offer you tangible, like concrete things and parameters to give you an advantage in how you build your businesses and how you kind of how you construct your life pursuing ambition. I really truly feel as if our culture is starting to shift away from this balls to the wall, everything. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we are successful no matter what. Like, it doesn't really matter. Oh, let me go. Just show you the whole thing. Sorry. Let me go to the first. Okay. So the main reason that I even felt compelled to create this masterclass was really so that I provide an alternative to what I feel culture is preaching. I think that women are building and pursuing success and doing incredible things, but at the expense of themselves, at the expense of their health, at the expense of their fulfillment in just their personal lives. And so I really felt nudged and pulled and inspired divinely in a way where this whole flow and talking about the value of flow and the value of alignment, I feel like is truly an advantage. So the very first session, what we're going to talk about today is the mindset of flow over hustle. And I really want to get into the nitty gritty of what this whole thing of flow even is, because I don't believe that we should just have woo-woo things or fluffy language and somehow and expect that fluffy language or those pretty Instagram posts to get us through the hard nitty gritty of pursuing ambition. I think when we create something that has our like heart and souls and gifts integrated into it, it challenges us, it pushes us to the edge of ourselves, and we need real truth to ground ourselves in. We need real tangible parameters to help us, to propel us forward so that we continue to show up for the incredible purpose that is placed before us. So that is the goal today, and that is what my desire for you to learn and take away from this 4-part masterclass is that I want this to be a whole new mindset. I want this to be a whole new infrastructure for how you continue to blow up your business, how you continue to show up strong for your purpose. And this is definitely, so it's broken up into 4 different sections. Today we're going to cover mindset. Next week we're going to cover strategy, how to build processes in place to make sure that you have routine so that you can create a rhythm and a flow. Week 4 is going to be all about alignment and identifying what your core values are, learning to trust your instincts, that you're making good decisions, you're taking on good partnerships, flexing your gift muscle and recognizing that those gifts are actually really that set you apart and a true advantage. And week 4 is going to be creating balance and prioritizing boundaries around our lives and the businesses that we create and the businesses that we lead in, and really setting a framework for that allows us to thrive in our family lives, in our personal lives, and does not sabotage our success. Because I truly, truly do believe, this is not BS, we can have it all. We may not be able to have it all at the same time every single minute of every day, but having it all is 100% possible. So mindset is what we're going to talk on today. And this is definitely, if you are in a place of, in the beginning, when you first try anything out, Heather, I think you're on here. When you first go out and you try and you put out your ambition, or you launch a business, or you step into something new, it is very much trial and error. It is very much, I'm going to just be brave enough to put myself out there. And it is a season, that first year of, first maybe even 2 years of trial and error, and learning hard lessons, and bending over backwards, and stretching yourself, and doing things that are totally out of maybe even your skill set, but you learn. And it's just such a season of growing yourself, and such a season of developing new skill set, and understanding even what your own desires are and what your own purpose is. This is not a place for you to start to create flow, because you need that empirical evidence. You need those experiences to really give you knowledge and really give you priority. So if you try to start off with flow, you don't even have enough physical evidence of what you want your life to look like, and what you want your business to look like. So I don't want you to put pressure on yourself if you're watching this, if you're in this, and you're really still within that first year of business. I want you to be thinking about these principles and about this mindset as something that you are working towards for your future. If you're in that first beginning phase of baby entrepreneur, you're just starting this thing out, please give yourself all the room to hustle, to burn the midnight oil, to to do things where you're like, I have no freaking idea how I'm going to do this. This is not flow. This is clunky, and this is grind, and this is grit. But you need to understand the limits that you have, and push yourself to certain limits to even have wisdom about what you want flow in. So the hustle versus flow, hustle focuses on, I believe that in order to succeed, I have to do everything within my power to make it happen now. So I really firmly believe that hustle, and this hustle mentality that we have right now, is it's so deeply focused on what you can do, and you being responsible for your own success that should be popping up like you make an Instagram post, and it should have 1,000 like reposts and retweets, and like clients flooding to your link in bio, right? It kind of creates this idea that true hustlers make things happen immediately. Like Rachel Hollis, blew up overnight. And I think it creates this false expectation that we should be creating results, and we should be creating tangible financial success and fame instantaneously, like within a microwave. And when that doesn't happen, it crushes us, and it makes us think that there's something wrong with me, that I can't do it within my power, and maybe I'm not meant to ever have success because it's not currently happening now. And I just think that that's such a detriment to so many of us for the long term. What we have, the purpose that we have long term in this world, it's such a detriment to getting kind of pulled out of the game, or discouraged out of the game too early, before you even have like a freaking chance to shine, before you even have a chance to show up and hone in your gifts. So flow puts the emphasis, the flow versus a hustle mentality is one that is believing that you will succeed by leveraging your gifts and trusting the power of the process. This is my belief, that you leverage your gifts and you recognize, I have these unique things, I have these talents, this wisdom, I have this ability, this capability, and by flexing these things continually, by putting these into practice and allowing the power of process, I will be successful. So it's almost taking an ease and the frenzy out of creating success, because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. It's not versus this has to happen now, or it will never happen. So there's a huge time shift or expectation. The expectation is success is coming my way. I'm not doubting that. Like, if I'm going to do this long enough, this is going to be successful. And I'm going to allow the power in the process to fine tune my gifts and open up the right opportunities. I'm going to consistently show up and do this work and trust that the process is going to yield success. So what is mindset? Let's get down to the fundamentals. Mindset, we hear this word so much. We hear about an abundant mindset. We hear about mindset coaching, and it's a very much like it's just a pivotal part of being an entrepreneur, assessing what your own mindset is. But I think sometimes we lose even like, what is a mindset? So it's a set of beliefs that orients the way that you handle a situation. The set of beliefs that you have that basically helps you to navigate whatever situation that you have. So a hustle mindset, it sounds really great. You ready? It's to have the courage, confidence, self-belief, and self-determination to go out there and work it out until you find the opportunities you want in life. And in the beginning, it's like, it's like, yes, it's inspiring, like have the courage and the confidence and the self-belief and the self-determination to go out there and make it happen. Bring all the find the opportunities that you want in life. But the problem is that having the courage and having the confidence and having the self-belief and having the determination all the time is simply impossible, because going out there and finding those opportunities challenges those exact beliefs that you need to have. You're challenged in your courage because you put yourself out there and you get completely like crickets, ignored, or you get rejected, or you get criticized. So then your confidence is challenged, and your confidence is broken down, which your self-belief then is broken down, because if you're putting all of the stock in what you're putting out into the world and how it's being received, you feel like that's a piece of who you are. So your self-belief and the way that you see yourself and how determined you are about what you are doing, that gets chipped away. So hustle and this culture of hustle that requires us to have courage all the time is challenging, because those exact attributes, those exact beliefs about what is necessary to succeed are constantly being confronted. They're constantly being challenged by the pure nature of creating success. So the truth about hustle, and I find that when you're in a grind and when you're in a environment of, I'm going to make this, I'm going to take ownership for creating success, and I'm going to show up strong, and it's not all bad, but the behavior of hustle mentality is often fear driven. I'm so fearful that if I don't do this now, or if I don't do it perfectly, I'm never going to get a chance to be successful. If I don't do it perfectly, it's going to completely flop. I have one chance. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of emotion. Like our emotions are up and down constantly because we're mustering up the courage. We get freaked out and we plummet down and we feel like, oh, completely deflated. So then we have to muster up the courage again and get completely, like, depending on how we're received, depending on what the result is, our emotions will fluctuate. So it's this highly emotional roller coaster. And the danger of that is that we, in the hustle mentality, is that we think that that's normal. Like the entrepreneur roller coaster, it's normal. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be on an emotional roller coaster for 30 years of my life, living my best life, living my most abundant life, creating impact, but being an emotional like psychopath. I don't want that. I don't want to be desperate all the time because I'm constantly challenging my courage. And so I feel so vulnerable that I feel desperate for validation, desperate for a result. Like I'm constantly digging my, like in the barrel of my self-confidence to muster up this courage because the pressure is on, the spotlight is on. I feel like I have to run with the wolves. If not, then I'll be eaten or I'll be trampled. There's constant pivoting, right? Oh, that didn't work. I gave it 2 weeks. That didn't work. Okay, I got to do something else. This is a complete flop. No one's paying attention to this. I just got to like ditch it and do something else. Okay, this one thing is kind of working, but I hate it. So I'm going to do something else. So there's this mentality that if we don't see instant success and we don't see instant buy-in, then we should be pivoting and we should be doing something else so that we can quickly acquire that success, so we can quickly acquire that approval, so that we can feel as if we're validated in the way that we're using our gifts, in the way that we're stepping into our purpose. Success in the hustle mentality, like your business success is who you are, right? Like if you're a real hustler, it's like, oh, she's killing on her podcast. She's this influencer. She has this many followers. She's making this much money. the all of who you are, your business success, all of a sudden absorbs all of your identity. So there's really not room for like, oh, how is she as a friend? How is she as a neighbor? How is she as like as a mom, like a mom friend? How is she as like a youth group leader? How is she at the grocery store? How does she interact in her community? How are you successful in the other roles of your life? None of that matters, because what's most important is that you have a successful business. That's the main source of fulfillment and identity. When I'm successful in my business, when everyone can see that my business is thriving, then everyone can see that I'm successful and I'm a winner. In the hustle mentality, there's a scarcity always. We never have enough time. We never are earning enough money. And we never have all of the support from all the people. We're always dealing with haters, right? Like haters gonna hate. There's always this scarcity of, have you guys ever heard the term, your to-do list, like an entrepreneur's to-do list is never checked off? I do not want to live that way. I do not want to live with a running constant to-do list. I want to feel the peace of completion. I want to feel the affirmation of a good day's work. Like, girl, you did it. You you had focus on this, that this is what needed to get accomplished, and you did it. And there's no need to dive into all of this other stuff in your business because it's not time for that. So this scarcity of there's never enough time. There's always so many things to be doing because we're wearing a million hats and we're all over the place and we're launching a bunch of different products and services and we're taking on jobs that we never should. We're trying to please clients that are completely out of our alignment. There's always this, I'm working so much harder. There's never enough time to do the work that I've taken on. There's never enough money. I'm not earning the type of money that I thought I would be or that I need to be in order to even sustain this thing. I'm undercharging. I'm not charging at all because I'm too scared. So I've put myself in a situation where I'm just scarce on time. I'm scarce on money. I'm scarce on support because I feel like people are not seeing my value. I feel like people are not even understanding who I am or what I'm doing. And then there's also this feeling of unrootedness where if someone interprets who we are, what our business is the wrong way, suddenly that becomes our identity. We're not rooted in solid ground. We don't have strong enough roots in who we are and what we're doing. So if someone else thinks, well, your business should do this, we all of a sudden rip out our roots and go plant them somewhere else and expect our tree to not have any sort of repercussion to that rerouting. We're quickly swayed because we are not firm in our own identities, in the purpose, in the gifts that we have. We're letting other people dictate how we should run our business. We're letting other people's interpretation of our gifts determine how we show up with them. So there's this feeling of constantly being a new person and having a new business. Sometimes it shows up in your branding. Like it's a new brand. I'm just tired of my brand. I feel like my brand needs to look more like this person because she's successful. There's this constant movement and frenzy in that hustle mentality. And what I want to teach you is the flow mindset. Doesn't it just sound like a little bit like, can we just flow? And one of the reasons why I love flow and the truth about this mindset is that it doesn't rely on you contorting every single detail. By nature, flow creates momentum in itself. Money should be flowing, right? Work should be flowing. There should be a constant stream that comes in and goes out. If you're just putting out, there's no flow because you're just putting out. If you're just taking in, there's no flow because you're just keeping it for yourself. The truth about a flow mindset is that it's faith-driven, and not necessarily faith like religion, but it's in the idea that what I currently see is not necessarily the truth. I have the belief that something more and something better is possible. And I do not take my current circumstances to determine what my future result will be. There's also this trust in yourself and your ability. You're not swayed from side to side, or you're not constantly pivoting, because you trust yourself to be enough, to be smart enough, to have the gifts in the right time, to be good enough to do this. You're not constantly questioning or ripping yourself apart. There's a trust that you have with yourself. There's an ease, this flow mindset. There's an ease about it. It's not effortless, but pretty darn close, because it creates momentum in itself. When you trust, you're basically open-handedly receiving and giving at the same time. So you're not toiling for every single thing. You're allowing goodness to flow in, you're allowing business to flow in, and you're not fearful about not having enough, not being enough, which allows you then to even receive more. There's an ease about the way you show up for your business, because you trust yourself and the gifts that you have, the ways that you are equipped to be able to show up strong for that business. You take on clients according to that are best suited for you. And you show up for that work with joy, with a sense of confidence, because they match who you are and what you provide. You're not bending yourself and molding yourself to be something that you are not. So the way that you show up, even for the work that you take on, is easy for you to do, because it relies on something that is automatic within you, which is your gifting. Success is a result of process and planning. It's not accidental. You're not waking up every day like, well, I hope that I hope I get clients. I don't know. You have a system in place to put yourself out there to receive clients. You're planning for what you want to put out there, and you have ease about what you're not putting out there. You're not constantly trying to change yourself and your services in order to get more clients, because you have a plan and you're going to stick to that, and you're going to trust that that plan is going to work, instead of being so desperate for a result and immediate success that you abandon that plan and quickly adapt something else, something on the fly. Abundance of time, money, and support. Here's the tricky part. You will be fooled into thinking that what you are doing when you are in flow is too easy. Like, it can't possibly be this easy. It can't possibly be this, like, okay, I have like spare time. Entrepreneurs aren't supposed to have spare time. Like, I'm supposed to be hustling, and this just feels like too, like I have time. I can take my kids to the park, or I can go to a yoga class. This doesn't seem normal. This doesn't seem like striving like everybody else is. And it'll fool you into thinking that you're doing something wrong. But when you have an abundance of time, it's because you've maximized your gift. So you can do something that is so unique to you. It's so effective in the way that you do it, that you do not need to toil in something else, because it flows out of you and it works efficiently. It works effectively. And that's why you are equipped that way, to do that exact same thing. So you will find yourself with abundance of time. And when you do this time and time again, you use your gift, you allow yourself to have ease in the projects that you take on, in the way that you show up for your business, you will have an abundance of money. You will have business that comes to you. You will attract those clients, because your energy that you have around your work and what you do is so effortless for you to put out. It is so authentic and is so rooted in who you are that it will automatically speak to people, even if you're not saying anything. And your experience with your clients will be so genuine and so good and so rooted that they then will speak highly of you and bring in clients, will refer clients to you, creating an abundance of money. When you are honest and genuine and at ease and at confidence with your guests, you're not trying to be anything that you're not. You're not trying to do anything that is totally not even in your interest. When someone is that rooted in who they are, it is so exciting and like peaceful to be around them. People will automatically give you support because they sense your authenticity as if it's something tangible. You're not trying to prove, there's not a mask of who you're trying to be that confuses people. Who you are and what you're doing when you are in flow easily communicates to people, and it allows them to see and make a decision about you quickly and leads into their support. They can trust you. That trust is built so much faster because there's no unauthentic barrier of you trying to be something that you're not, or trying to do something that is out of your skill set. There's a rootedness in the flow mentality that allows you to not make bad decisions or take on maybe work that you're not supposed to, or collaborate with people that are going to end up being detrimental to you. You're rooted in who you are and what you have to give to the world. And that gives you a sense of discernment to not just pick up your business or pick up your brand and take it somewhere else. It allows you to withstand the storm of trends. If something that is just completely not vibing or is not even appropriate for your business, but everybody is doing it. When you have a flow mindset, you have this rootedness about who you are and what you're doing that allows you to see this is just a fad and it'll fade, but I'm going to be here for a long time to come. There's no reason for me to jump on this bandwagon. It's completely inappropriate for me, or just like will do nothing for me and for my business. So maybe I miss out on the buzz, but I'm going to stay rooted in my business and who I am, what I have to give. I'm not threatened by new kids on the scene or new voices in the crowd, because I'm confident in what I'm providing and I'm confident in who I am. So I'm going to continue to stay where I'm at and grow from the fertile ground that I've set my roots in. My roots are going to continue to spread deep so that I can go high. When you are constantly questioning yourself, then your roots are like spread out far and wide. And those are actually, there was a giant windstorm in Spokane a few years ago. I was in New York at the time, and it was catastrophic. There were giant trees, like high 3, 4, 5 stories trees with giant trunks that fell over. The entire town was like power houses were destroyed. It was awful because Spokane has so many high pine trees, but it was just one type of tree that this high wind destroyed and toppled over. And it was a tree whose roots did not grow deep, but they grew wide. And those are the most dangerous ones. They grow high, but as soon as a wind comes, as soon as a high wind comes, it toppled all of them over. And you would see these giant, like, trunks as big as, or root systems as big as a car would topple over. And we actually had one on our property. Thankfully, our house was fine, but it was devastating to the community because there are so many trees and there are so many people. There were a couple of, I feel like there were a small amount of deaths. I can't say for sure, but it was huge. And to this day, Spokane looks different because we had so many trees that were just taken out at the time. So when your roots are surface, when they're not superficial, but they're not deeply rooted, and you don't allow them to go deep, when you don't allow them to really sink down because you're constantly moving yourself, like uprooting yourself and putting yourself in different soil in a different business. Maybe if I join this team, maybe if I join this network marketing company, maybe if I start this thing, maybe if I collaborate with her, then she'll be my ticket to success. You're constantly uprooting yourself. It doesn't give you a chance to really allow your roots to go down deep. With a flow mindset, business is separate from your personal identity. Your business can stall, it can fail, it can be a complete flop, but that doesn't mean that you are a complete flop. That doesn't mean that you are a failure. That means that something that you tried didn't work. And it allows you to have this dexterity about your gifts, that in this creativity about how you pursue success, that is not so devastating to who you are as a woman. And I feel like that's so important for us to recognize, is that we create things all the time and not all of them are going to be a success, and that's okay. That is not an indication of how God sees you, the worth that you have, the value that you have, and the gifts that you have as a human being. And also it allows you to even have space and time when you're thinking about creating success in a flow mindset, you're leaving room to even have time for personal relationships and to have time for other roles, for you to have hobbies, for you to have friendships, for you to have thriving, other things in your life. It's not just about your business. Joy in your daily actions. There's an ease about when you do your work. I'm going to do my work and it's going to be enjoyable, and I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be effective and I'm going to be focused, but I'm also going to leave room to enjoy other parts of my day, other conversations that have nothing to do about business, other time of personal development, exercise, cleaning my home, like doing the things that we want to be doing in our life without a frenzy and without feeling resentful towards those things because they're taking time away from our businesses. There's a clear priority. When you have a flow mindset, it's not just business trumps all. It's having priorities in who you are and what kind of life you're creating. Your priorities are not constantly being bumped down because business is first. Your priorities are clear, so you're able to have an ease in what you're doing because they don't mean more than what it means. Your priorities are, you have a focus and a confidence that regardless of your business, what happens in your business, you still have a whole life happening over here. There's also a growth mindset. When you are constantly striving and grinding and toiling and manipulating and trying to bend yourself into success, there's no room for real growth. Growth is small and incremental because you don't have a foundation to continue to build on. You're constantly reconstructing that foundation. So there's an opportunity when you have a flow mindset to even have growth because you have clarity in what it is that you're doing and in the growth that you're wanting to accomplish. A flow mindset also allows you to have collaboration that is not threatening. When you're in a hustle, you're constantly comparing yourself to what other people are doing and how their business is progressing. So any sort of collaboration seems threatening to you because, they might just find out that you're really a shit show behind the scenes, or you just might see that they're so much further along than you are, and you beat yourself up for what you're not, or what you're not creating, or how far enough you're not down the line. Hustle really keeps you very isolated. And it also, you don't have clarity around what it is that your strengths are. So when you collaborate, you're not coming into a collaboration with real strength and clarity. It's a bit fuzzy. So I would say real collaboration when you're talking about growing your brand and growing your business, when you have this flow, when you have this ease, so that you can also properly set boundaries around your collaboration to make sure that a collaboration doesn't turn into, you completely abandoning your business, or maybe someone completely taking over what your dream is and making it their own. The value of a flow mindset. I hope I haven't lost you guys, but I hope you're like, yes, I want flow. I want flow in my life and in my business. The value of having these beliefs for yourself as you create success is that it allows you to have joy in the process, because it's not so focused on impending failure and missing the small window of success. You can enjoy the process when you have assurance, like, I'm going to be successful. I'm not doubting that. So I'm going to enjoy these creative processes, or even this me clicking into the right alignment, because the journey towards achievement is not just for that end goal. It's for me to grow as a person and explore these opportunities that I feel so energized by. Okay, so it allows for enjoying. I know that there are a lot of successful people that I've personally heard say, the first 3 years of my company, I missed out on my kids' lives. Like, I don't remember seeing my daughter walk. I don't remember hearing their first words. I had to miss out, but I didn't watch Netflix. I didn't do any of these things. We didn't do date nights. We didn't do we lived like nobody else, so we can live like nobody else. there's such a glorification of this like vacuum seal, like shutting yourself down in your life in order to create success in this short amount of time, because you have this idea that it's going to somehow sustain or set you up for coasting in the future. But what it does is it creates, this is the model for how I create success. So even when you say, okay, I finally reached, like I'm finally a millionaire, my business is booming, the only way you know how to create millions is through neglecting who you are and your entire family and putting yourself in a vacuum and burning through relationships to make that happen. How is that sustainable? So for you to actually enjoy the process, but maybe have it be a slower process, oh, for me, yes. I don't want to have to shut down my life, I guess, live like nobody else in order to maybe live like nobody else for the foreseeable future. That's too risky to me. I'd rather have as much joy and as much trust and ease in the process so I can make sure that I'm still enjoying today, because I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. The value also is that it prioritizes an ideal quality of life. It doesn't over glorify this short-term pain for this long-term gain, which I feel is so detrimental, and it's such a lie, because it teaches us that in order to really create that kind of success, like let's say you had a freaking baller month in one season or last month, but you went to the wits of yourself, you now have that impression, and you will protect yourself from burning out. You will protect yourself from going to those extremes, which then will block you from ever achieving those kinds of results again. It creates this association that if I want to have a $10,000 month again, I have to go to those extremes and get to the edge of myself. It makes those things like those two commonalities. Like I don't have one without the other. And that's just a falsehood. That's not the only way to create $10,000 worth of revenue. There's a better way. There's an easier way. But you have to be able to believe it and have belief that you can, or else if you don't believe it, this is why we're talking about this. If you don't believe that this is possible, your behavior won't line up and you won't do it. The value also is it positions you for growth that is within your alignment, which also creates more ease and flow. It creates sustainability in your purpose so that you can have a life that, I mean, in a business that 10, 15 years, it will continue to evolve, but it's also sustainable for you. It's not just a business that you create within a vacuum that actually can't exist in your real life. Like a business that maybe like I created it in this kind of fragmented part of myself, but when I go back to my family, when I go back into my relationships, I actually can't execute business in that way. I can't actually hustle every single night because I also have a family. I also have to show up for my relationships. It cultivates innovation when you allow yourself to be in flow and to have a mindset of flow. It cultivates innovation because you are not desperate to create something right now. And it allows you to have creative ideas, which gives you the confidence to even pursue them, because there's an ease and a sustainability and a rhythm happening over here. It positions you to continue to be creative about up-leveling your gifts or exploring other opportunities, because there's kind of something that's self-sufficient over here. And the idea of creating something new is not so overwhelming and like, oh my gosh, how could I possibly, because I'm so already maxed out. When you have a rhythm and a flow in your business, it frees you up to pursue other innovative ideas. So my question is, what will you believe? If you believe that hustle, grind, and grit and bearing through it and maximizing all of your power in order to create success now, if those are the things that you believe, your actions will line up, and that's what you'll create. And what I want you guys to do is consider what your beliefs are and align those, challenge those beliefs. If your heart really beckons for a sense of peace in your purpose, If you really want to create a business that is sustainable, do not discredit those desires and think that's not possible. It's not possible for me to have this, it's not possible for me to create a business and not be in it every single minute of every day. It's not possible for me to have this like income without me taking myself to the limit of myself. If your beliefs do not line up for flow, then you will never create flow. So I want to challenge you guys, and what we'll dig into a little bit further as we continue to evolve and go through this is, what beliefs do you need to change so that you can start creating flow in your life and in your business? What are those things, those assumptions about success that you have that need to be challenged in order for you to even have a chance to create flow? Everybody knows what you believe is what your behavior, what you believe leads to your behavior, and your behavior leads to your result. That's just the way that it is. So the power of our minds is immense in creating and generating hustle or in creating flow. And I just want to encourage each of you to challenge those beliefs about hustle being the only way or the best way, and beckon you to consider flow, because that is going to give you so much more success in such a peaceful, rooted, and confident way. Coming up next week is strategy, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to build a sustainable process and how to put systems in place so that you have a routine, so that your business is not constantly relying on you to act immediately. There are things that need to be in play for your business to have a routine and for it to even be generating a flow, for it to be generating the result that you're wanting. All right. Okay, ladies, tell me what you think. Let me shut off recording.